Good afternoon, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. Breaking news, 2 years into his administration, President Trump drops the bomb, issues his first presidential veto.
The Democrat-sponsored resolution would terminate vital border security operations by revoking the national emergency issued last month. It is definitely a national emergency. Rarely have we had such a national emergency. Therefore, to defend the safety and security of all Americans, I will be signing and issuing a formal veto of this reckless resolution, and that's what it was.
12 Republicans voted in the Senate with the Democrats to try to stop the president's declaration of emergency. Among them, Lamar Alexander from Tennessee, who told constituents he worried that future presidents would abuse the power. The example they keep going to is, well, if we allow President Trump to do this, what if some liberal Democrat gets in there and declares that global warming is a national emergency and it ends up costing us trillions of dollars? The Constitution and the powers that the Congress has given the president with regard to declaring a national emergency, it's fairly clearly outlined. A literal national emergency of a type of invasion, a type of detriment to the health and well-being and safety of our citizenry. Climate change doesn't fall into that category. And shame on you wimp Republicans if you, number one, don't understand the difference, and number two, if some libloon president were to ever try to go that direction, didn't stop it. Of course, then again, I do remember all the times that Barack Obama stepped out of the lines and the perimeters of the Constitution, and you Republicans did nothing, which is why we have DACA. What the president did today is within his job as the commander-in-chief. He is doing his duty in protecting the United States citizens from an invading force. This is clear. Sorry, Rand Paul, but he's not taking extra constitutional power here. You really need to go back to a basic high school civics class and learn the Constitution. I am just dumbfounded because, Rand, I like you. I want to keep liking you. But this is just such an incredibly stupid thing. Even here from the great state of Ohio, Mr. Portman, you're probably going to get yourself primaried over this one. This is the ultimate act of betrayal. Now, on the upswing, this is not going to be overturned. The president's veto will stand. Now remember, this originated in the House of Representatives. They only got 245 votes. They would need 285 votes now in the House of Representatives to send it to the Senate for an override. There's no way Nancy Botox Pelosi can make up 40 plus votes. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the president's veto will stand. He will move forward with his national emergency declaration. Yes, he will be challenged in the courts. This will get fast-tracked to the United States Supreme Court, where I believe that ultimately he will win. That said, these people that want to run around screaming, he's a dictator, look at what he's doing, he's thwarting the Constitution. How is he being a dictator? If he were a dictator, he'd just snap his fingers and this would happen. He's been challenged by members of his own party. He will advance on his directive. The courts will no doubt step in and say, whoa. He will then go through the appeals process. Ultimately, it will be argued before the Supreme Court, where a decision will then be rendered. That's not dictatorial. That's following procedure. And nobody talks about all the presidential declarations that have been declared as acts of emergency from the time of Clinton, the Bushes, even Barack Obama, none of which got challenged. We have money leaving to foreign entities because of so-called emergencies. So this argument that the Republicans fall back on, what if some libloon does something even crazier? The president took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and to protect the United States. That means the citizens of the United States. Today on Neil Cavuto on Fox News, he had the former director of border agents under Barack Obama on. And I am sure that Neil was waiting for this former director to say that this is a bad move by the president. In actuality, what he said was he applauded what the president did today. This is exactly what needs to happen. There is a legitimate emergency at the border, and what the president did today ensures the protection of the United States. You can bet there's a whole lot of Democrats going, what? So we thank you, Mr. President. Did you see all of the members of border security, law enforcement, standing there with the president? Oh, by the way, Ann Coulter, are you paying attention to any of this? Because you've been on him that he hasn't built the wall, He couldn't build the wall even when Paul Ryan was there. It was always going to come to this. And you need to remember, all of you, when it's time to vote 2020, whether they be Democrat or Republican, who stood against the president today. Because in standing against the president, they're standing against you. They're standing against your family, your safety, your security. Kudos, Mr. President. Way to go. That's it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for my next rant.